The first money that couldn't be printed: visuals, early human settlements, ancient farming scenes, tribal leaders marking territory. Narrator: long before coins or credit, land was wealth itself. It fed you, sheltered you, and crucially, it couldn't be faked. You couldn't counterfeit a valley or mine more soil into existence. That's what made land the first hard asset. Ownership of land wasn't just about survival, it was power. Ancient Egypt's pharaohs controlled their empire not through paper notes, but through control of the Nile's fertile banks. Medieval kings didn't issue currencies, they granted land titles to loyal nobles. Every great empire was, at its core, a ledger of who owned what soil. Sound familiar? That's because the blockchain Bitcoin's backbone's just a digital version of that same ledger. Idea: transparent, finite, trustless. But here's the twist. Land scarcity made it valuable and dangerous. Section 2. Rise. The land-based world order visuals. European maps, feudal castles, colonization routes, gold and trade ships. Narrator: by the Middle Ages, land ownership defined every class system. Peasants worked it, nobles managed it. Monarchs claimed it by divine right. Land wasn't just money, it was identity, hierarchy, and inheritance wrapped together. Wars were fought not over ideology but over acres. When Europe ran out of new land, nations looked outward. Colonial powers didn't just discover continents, they claimed them. They planted flags, drew borders, and declared, "This now belongs to us." In economic terms, colonization was a giant global land grab. And with it came the first speculative mania. The price of land in the New World skyrocketed. Entire fortunes were made and lost on paper, deeds centuries before Bitcoin's white paper ever existed. But every system that rises on scarcity eventually faces its breaking point. Section 3. Breaking point. When land stopped being money visuals, industrial revolution, factories replacing farms, city skylines growing. Narrator: by the 18th and 19th centuries, something shifted. Machines replaced labor, capital replaced soil, and the economy moved from fields to factories. Land, once the foundation of wealth, became just another asset. Governments introduced paper money, promise backed not by land, but by trust. The British Empire abandoned land-based feudalism for industrial capitalism. America, once built on homesteads, pivoted to corporate ownership. And the world's richest families, the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Morgans, didn't own farmland. They owned finance. Land was no longer the currency of kings. It became collateral, something you borrowed against, not for. But as new money flooded the system, something strange happened. The value of real physical land quietly started climbing again. Section 4. Fallout. The new feudalism visuals. Suburban sprawl, rising real estate prices, headlines about billionaire land purchases. Narrator: fast forward to today. In an age of infinite digital money, land, physical and tangible, has become scarce again. BlackRock, Bill Gates' sovereign wealth funds are quietly buying millions of acres of farmland and property. In the U.S. alone, corporate and institutional ownership of single-family homes has risen over 400% since 2010. It's a quiet return to feudalism, this time with spreadsheets instead of swords. Once again, the few own the land, the many rent it. And the system that replaced land with paper has circled back to where it began. Meanwhile, a digital rebellion is forming. Bitcoiners claim their digital coins are the new land, finite, transparent, and immune to central control. But history warns us, every decentralized system eventually consolidates power. Land, money, data, it's always the same story. Section 5. Failed fixes and modern parallels visuals. Inflation charts, housing crisis footage, crypto mining rigs. Narrator: when governments tried to make housing affordable, they printed more money, but that money flowed straight into asset inflation. Land prices rose faster, renters stayed renters. Sound familiar? It's the same dynamic playing out in crypto markets, only adopters accumulate scarce assets. Latecomers chase the promise of freedom, but find themselves priced out. Whether it's a digital token or a piece of land, the laws of scarcity don't bend. They just migrate from soil to silicon. Section 6 takeaways, warning, and call to action. Visuals. Split screen of farmland, city skylines, and Bitcoin logos merging together. Narrator slower, reflective tone. So what can we learn from this cycle of ownership and illusion? First, true wealth always begins with something finite: land, gold, or code. Anything infinite eventually devalues.
I can control the ledger.
And you control the world. Whether it's a royal title, a government registry, or a blockchain ownership, is power. Third, history doesn't repeat, it upgrades. Feudalism became capitalism. Capitalism became digital. And soon, even data itself may become the next land. Narrator intensifies. But here's the warning. When everyone's chasing the new Bitcoin, the real wealth is often hiding in what's been left behind. The soil beneath our feet, ignored, finite. Unforgivable might just outlast every digital bubble. Pause. Narrator's soft closing tone. If history is a cycle of ownership and illusion, which side of it will you stand on? Fade out to visuals of farmland and digital Bitcoin code merging into a single glowing orb. Narrator, this was land, the original Bitcoin. If this made you think differently about wealth, history, or power, subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden forces shaping our world. End card text on screen. History doesn't repeat. It compounds. Give subscribe, watch next. The hidden financial battle behind World War I.